Hello everyone, I'm Stuart Heath, founder and CEO of Harvard Grace Capital. And I'm sorry that Nerdy Numbers is a couple of days late this week, but we really wanted to get in after the Fed meeting this week and see that they actually did cut rates as the market was expecting. As any serious investor knows at this point, the Fed cut their target rate by a quarter point yesterday, and it's been expected now for at least a couple of months. But everybody's keying on the comments from Chair Powell. He said, further cuts are probable, but they're not certainty. Did give some guidance that there would be perhaps 2 more cuts this year, so a total of 3 this year, likely a quarter of point each, and then one maybe next year. So that'd be a 4-cut cycle, bringing us down a full point on their target rate, which is about where a lot of smart people that I know and listen to think we should be. We're in an age where it's apparent that a lot of the ways that the government's been collecting data, CPI, unemployment rates, and things like that, those methods aren't working anymore. And you can get partisan about it if you want to, but we're just in an age when the Labor Department keeps calling people's landline phones to talk to them about getting jobs, and when there's no answer, they assume they're at work. I mean, that just doesn't work anymore. Who's got a landline anymore? I, for one, haven't had one in 15 years. So government is government. And I guess I'm a little bit surprised that the Fed is relying on government statistics such as the unemployment calcs and the way they calculate CPI, which has its own issues. I'm surprised that the Fed doesn't have any other resources. I mean, they've just got tons and tons of people up there. What are they all doing? Anyway, we've seen a loss of jobs of about 1.8 million, just taken off the rolls just from adjustments, which has put the labor market into, a watch territory, not the go-go territory that, a bunch of false numbers have led us to believe. And a lot of smart people have been warning us of this for several months. So a lot of people think that the Fed rate has been too high for quite some time. And the CPI, their measure of inflation, has its own issues, and so that inflation is really not as high as the CPI would say. So if the Fed's relying upon these things to make their decisions, it's like, all right, we need to retool here. So finally, the Fed seems to be back on board. It looks like we're in another cutting cycle, and this is great. Now, what we got to watch now is what's the 10-year going to do? What's the 10-year Treasury, which is, the basis of all the mortgage and commercial financing rates, which, in my view, most of the fixed rates available are in pretty good spot right now. So anyway, there's our report for the week. Stay tuned next week for our next Nerdy Numbers. Let me know. Let's talk about this. Would love to have a conversation with you. Thanks. Bye.